Hello everyone, welcome to Mordheim Madness Season 1, and we are finally here for the playoffs and the very first playoff game to be played, which is Talon against Rodfather. We're here for the winner's bracket round 1. Rodfather, who did not win his group but got in because his particular group had a special seed, so they get into the winner's bracket, so he has one more chance if he loses here, and he is indeed the very big underdog. He has not done too much too far in his tournament experience. He's only won a single game, the recent game against Daddy Cool with his underpowered warband. Can he do something against Talon here? We will see. Talon has a very high initiative. We're playing on the middle bridge. There is one deployment here that starts most of the every single unit in melee already from the start. And the other two deployments are pretty close to each other as well, meaning that initiative will probably play a key role here, something that Rodfather does not have. But very interesting here, seeing this game, and we hope it will be a nice game. Talon is playing as a Skaven, Rodfather as Mercenaries, and we wish both of the players good luck in this. Hope we see a nice game, and let's jump right into it. Okay, so actually we did end up with Fog of War. Battles underway and both formats already engaged around the map. We see a 300 difference in Talon's favor, and the Fog of War is definitely going to favor Talon quite a bit. I don't think he really needs it. I mean, in a way you could probably say, let's see here, and the initiative really high here for Talon. Going to start with 6 units before. So he's going to have to place them down, and then Rodfather can at least pair them up to every unit he wants, but Talon is going to move first, so with all of the range, probably going to disengage and focus fire down the targets. And I don't think that this is probably a quick game. I don't see it coming out any other way. It's probably so that if these two players switched warbands, Talon's warband would still win. So it's not about player skill that much, but you have to say it does take some skill in building a warband. And what we've seen from Rodfather is that his warband is not quite up to par. Hopefully he can be in the next tournament. But right now he's going to have a very tough spot here to try and eke out a win from this, and he's probably going out to losers bracket. But let's not take anything out in advance. Let's see how this game progresses. You take a look at the top left corner of the screen here, and you see 220 morale for Rodfather, who we are following in this game, and 179 for Talon. And I hope you do like actually the brand split new overlay that we're doing here, as well as a scoreboard that's updated live. Easier to keep track, and I hope this is something that people want for a future season. We might do this more often. Or, I mean, we would have this as a permanent feature, maybe update it a little bit, but it's nice that it comes into play here in the playoffs. I think we're going to skip ahead on the deployment phase here and go straight to the first turn. Placing the last units here, we have some pretty poor pairings here. Rodfather didn't have much of a choice, but I don't know. I mean, Rodfather did have a choice, and he didn't put out the best pairings there, like placing down his heroes against warp guards that are only there to be tanky. I don't know about this. Gonna see some focus fire here early on. And if Talon is true to his style, he's gonna have a lot of high damage, lots of adrenaline rush and exhaustion on everything. And it's something to actually take with you here, and we're gonna see the Warlock die early on. But if you do face Talon in one of these tournaments, I think that he has this big weakness that he always plays the exact same kind of warband. For this tournament, he's for the first time playing something that's not the Mercenaries, but even this Skaven warband is just a copy-paste of his previous Mercenary warband. It's just really high initiative, followed up by exhaustion and adrenaline rush mastered on everything. ignoring intelligence at all costs and just high damage and high initiative, and that's it. Simple awareness, simple shield specialist if you can afford it, but nothing else really. It's always the same warband, it always looks the same, and it's takes a lot of damage as it does its attack, and it's all about focus fire, and a lot of people just fall for it. In this particular match he has a lot of luck here, starting out with a perfect deployment for him, but even so, this is a close map, it doesn't really matter which deployment you have, you really need a rival of the ruins kind of setup here to take away the initiative advantage and make all of the initiative investment be virtually useless. Gonna see some focus fire now. Oh, wow, actually I think that's pretty cool, but it's that sort of displays, you know, I'm not gonna say nothing bad about Rodfather, but Youngbloods are more or less one of the worst heroes in the game. It's fun to see them, really fun to see them. Focus fire. It's that regular normal tactic, and it's used by Talon, it's used by everyone else too. Just focus fire, focus fire. See, he has other tempting targets, but just gonna make sure that things die one at a time, leaving you with fewer and fewer options, and then you have lost, taking 60 damage here from Adrenaline Rush in the next turn to finish off the Warlock. One of the first units for Rodfather to be able to move, so he's not moving. There we go, immediately taking the lead here, 1-0. And we're gonna see more units die here. We see a sorcerer leader, probably an order leader as well. Can actually bring that thing up here, the exhaustion, as you can see. It's really effective when it's masters. It's worth having on most of the heroes, depending on your build. Since the regular one also costs 30 wounds and only restores 1 strategy point, this restores 3 of them for the same cost. It's really efficient compared to Adrenaline Rush that doubles in damage as it moves from 1 red pill to 3 red pills. Still worth using though. You don't necessarily have to have a warband like this. You do depend on lucky deployments and maps, etc. to make it useful, because you have cloth. If the initiative is not going to be worthwhile in the game, then you have lost in another way, and then you're pretty weak against stuns. You don't have knowledge Mordheim and so forth. So it's not an end-all warband, and if you are paying attention and know that you're playing Talon, or for some other reason some other players that always does the same thing, you know exactly what to expect and can plan for that. It's part of the level 10 tournament scene. Looking for some kind of target here. Is that going to be the poor young blood up here with the great sword? I think it might be. It's very lucky here. We saw Talon earlier in another game, and he got the exact same deployment. No, I mean the exact same map. And that's really rare, since we have randomized the maps for this tournament. So it's, what are the odds for this? Pretty low actually. And you see Adrenaline Rush again. And exhaustion. So he's gonna hit 90 damage on his turn. So if you can just do a little bit of damage on the Globadier, he will be dead. And the same for the other Globadier too, but you have to get to them. So you can see how this warband plays into having the initiative being the key part of it actually working. Being able to not just having the highest initiative, but also making sure that you can actually use it on the very first time. It was the same with his Mercenaries warband, played in the exact same thing. See the leader here, might see order on this leader. It's very common for sorcerer leaders to and magisters and many of these spellcasting leaders to actually be order leaders. And it pairs well. You're gonna see here 2 Black Skaven, and they, as we know, also have Master Adrenaline Rush and Exhaustion and Black Hunger Mastered, so they do a lot of damage. Shrouding Mist is a very nice touch, I think. Let's actually take a moment here and look that up as we're here. As you can see, this penalty is only applied to units that are not Skaven, working pretty well for a Skaven Warband. It's very common to see one of the most powerful spells after Sorcerer. Shrouding Mist, making sure that you hit with everything and that your units are a bit more safe against ranged attacks, which is really common nowadays in tournaments like this. See some other delays here before the novice gets to act, if she gets to act. Let's see here. Black Hunger. Very nice for the opening round. Also does a lot of damage. Frenzy does as well. That's plus 30% damage. Oh, and very high dodge on this character. Wow! That is actually really nice for Rodfather. Exceptionally so. Sorcerer's Curse, minus 40% armor and minus 30% parry and dodge as well. You can see how it pairs up really well with Black Hunger, huh? Those two combined, you have minus 70% on your parry and dodge, effectively eliminating the stance altogether. You see more damage being done here. Not as great for dodge roll, as you can see. Yeah, I had a 4% chance to do a melee critical hit chance. It's not just an accident here that Novice got her chance, I will have to say, because it doesn't seem like Talon has any critical hit resistance. Gonna take 60 damage on the next turn as well. This unit's gonna be really injured, but if there's nothing left of Rodfather's units, then it won't matter. You do a lot of damage though. Kinda strange now, right? Why empty hand and a dagger? It's very odd. It's like, yeah, it's really not optimal for the novice. Like, why empty hand? Just have a shield instead. Or be two-handed. Would have done a lot more damage too. Really inefficient. But shouldn't complain. We knew what we were getting into seeing this game. We've seen Rodfather's Warband before. It's just something you do learn after your first tournament, hopefully. Although this is Rodfather's second tournament, and it's still you do learn after a while as you play more PvP games. It's going to be a rough learning experience, as Rodfather is no doubt going to be sent down to the losers bracket. It seems like that. But soon he gets his turn. He can finally do some moves. He uses a This is a really poor place to be in, huh? Stuck with a warp guard with the parry captain. Probably want to go away from this fight. Especially since he's in Web of Steel, like no need to punch through that. You need to get to something that's important and use the Web of Steel of the captain to get more free attacks. Especially against one of the Black Skaven would be perfect. Or any hero for that matter. So you see anticipation triggering here for Talon's warp guards. System plus 3% extra melee resistance every time they get hit. So they're even more difficult to hit. Adrenaline rush also on the warp guards. But that's something that almost every single player has on their henchman, to get off a third attack if necessary. Oh, I don't know. You're a bit unlucky with a critical hit, I suppose, but if you never invest in critical hit resistance, it's bound to happen at some point. Like, you're really lucky if that does not happen. I could lock down this Globadier, but he's not gonna live for long. But he could do a bit of damage here for once. A good chance of hitting. Should probably use Squire's Curse here to lock down with pistol for once. Like, that's the only reason to mark off enfeeblement. See, it's really not. Yeah. Enfeeblement is probably the worst weapon enchantment in the game. Because it doesn't actually do anything unless your opponent is delaying and have red pills left over. So on top of having one of the worst heroes, he has one of the worst enchantments on that hero's weapon. This would be a good target. Yeah, I like this. He has already taken a lot of damage. Does he have Adrenaline Rush? No, he does not. Right, simple hand shot, minus 10% hit chance for that unit for the upcoming turn. Saw briefly there in the lower left corner. The penalties from Sorcerer's Curse. He needs to get in there. Oh, they don't have much movement, huh? Seems like fine movement for this guy. Can he actually get to somewhere that's where he can be useful? I think that's it. See, this is the problem with the deployment. Like, you didn't see the deployment here, but see where he put the units. Like, he got to see where most of Talon's units were and could pair them up. Why not put the tanky, heavy armored champions against the damaging targets here? Like now he has a unit here that didn't actually do anything. Because he's so slow and couldn't get into the fight. You see another problem, which is another hero, just like the captain, tied down by a single warp guard, and he wants to stay in this fight for some reason. Can take a look at the precise strike master here, just making sure that you miss dodge and parry. But that's pretty much it. Used it the second time. Well, that's unlucky, really unlucky, considering you used the mastered strike. Talon shouldn't complain, he has very much luck here. Yeah, none of these will really help you, like, and you should really disengage from this fight. You have nothing to gain from fighting this tanky warp guard. This is built exactly like all of the Talon's units here. Like if you're that warp guard, why would you ever attack into the captain when he has Web of Steel on? And while the captain is in heavy armor, it might be slow as well, you know, it's a reason to pair him up with something that's useful. Like pair him up against one of the black scale, and that's really what he should have done. The heavy armored champion and the heavy armored captain should have been paired up against the two black scale, and he had the option to do so. And playing right into Talon's strengths, like that's why you have very tanky henchmen to tie up heroes, and Rodfather is letting him do that. So that they had Jaw Strike. Only has one spellcaster to target it on though, the sorcerer. If he ever gets into combat with one of them. With them. With him. Asumi. It's a late game, this one. Just like the other game, if we waited for Talon here, it's a little bit annoying. If that had hit, it would be minus 10% armor. It's a little bit annoying because you set a specific time and then both they show up to the time, and then I don't know. I think it's lacking a bit of respect because Talon took quite a long time on him to fix his warband right before the game, 40 minutes, and it's I'm kind to wait here, but you know the opponent just wants the game to get the game done, but really you should just prepare your warband in advance. Just be respectful to your opponents. You're gonna see a long list here of all of Talon's units coming up, and they're gonna do a lot of damage. Might see a few more kills. And the less options Rodfather has to do damage, the less interesting this game will get, I assume. There's a countdown to see how much of morale penalty Rodfather can survive. That is an old target choice, actually. A heavy armored champion. Doesn't he want to target the unit here with the Sorcerer's Curse on him? See, it is still doing a little bit of damage here, that's decent, indicating that these shurikens have mark of preparation on them, and it's also something that you do learn after a while. Like Talon has no variety whatsoever, it's preparation on every single weapon, on all single slots, on every single warband he ever makes. But most players do use Perforation because Perforation is very powerful. Indeed, an older leader. Gonna do a lot of damage here on Wolfram Slicer. Might see another kill. The Perforation is really powerful because the damage difference is quite a big when you do penetrate armor compared to not penetrating armor. And a lot of people really like armor, so especially with Armor of Righteousness these days. So it is becoming more and more important. But you could have some variation at least. There are some other choices that are in the slot. Yeah, almost killed him. Will you use Master Adrenaline Rush to actually kill him? Is that worth it? 60 extra damage? To get another order in? No, using a delay. Using a delay for now. Wow, that's 90 damage. I should have used Sorcerer's Curse though, but wanted the stance. It's gonna delay with the Globadier to get someone else to go up there and actually kill that Youngblood, freeing up the Globadier without having to disengage. Yeah, you see that here now. Just one more hit and it's done. A miss. Trying to not use aim here, I want to save the blue pills. Finally finishes the job. Another hero goes down for Rodfather, making it 2-0. At least fun. First and only Youngblood we have seen in Mordheim Madness so far, and it's fun seeing them every once in a while. I wish there was some really good build with them. I guess if you're playing the lower level tournaments, like starting from level 0, then you have to start with a Youngblood. And that's probably the only cases when we do see them. They have this weird mix of... like many characters do have this. They might be better at range than melee, and then they start with a melee skill, or they start with a range skill and are better than melee. But clearly Square's Curse, it was buffed, so it's only costs 2 red pills and a blue extra pill, making it fairly useful as a melee skill goes. In some cases, but he's just not a really good melee unit. That's the thing, and he has a low leadership, so it means he's susceptible to all alone and fear and terror. And he's just not good in everything, and look at his stats, and he's just better as a ranged unit. We have a much better ranged unit in the Smuggler and Last of Talent Marksman. It's really hard to find a purpose for him. This is decent damage though. Another classic tactic here. You might see this as we go further into the playoffs. I know Talon always does this, like the only units he ever targets is the heroes and the leader. And many other players do as well, because that's where the real power comes from. Particularly if you do have henchmen like Rodfather, and many other players do, including Talon. Like henchmen that don't really do too much damage, they just have to be tanky and tie up heroes and leaders. And they're not that useful to winning the game, so at least damage wise. So it's just best to target where the offensive power comes from, and that's what's being done. Yeah, why attack into the captain? Like, I hope the captain doesn't stay there now. Like, hope. Yeah, Rodfather, you're attacking 5 into 5 red pills to well seal. I hope you don't do that, but I'm afraid you might. Just showing inexperience. quite a fair chunk of kills to get through here to get a route test. Hopefully it can be sped up if Talon goes and picks down the idol of Rodfather. Should be relatively nearby here. A Drought of Clarity here is a classic thing. I think this is, before the tournament, Talon voted that they did definitely need consumables, and some players want to be without consumables, some want to be consumables, and for Talon I think it's because he's designed his entire warband idea around the consumables. As you see, he always uses the Potions of Clarity, because if you don't have any intelligence whatsoever, you're susceptible to stun checks, particularly if you do have very little critical hit resistance, as Talon has not focused on either. And so just using that for plus 70% stun resistance, which is quite a lot, and it's really not a much of a step down from the purple enchantments in that regard. For some consumables it's like that, you don't lose much power. And so of course he will going to cover up the weakness that is produced by not focusing on intelligence. And since he's wearing helmets and everything, he has 20% from that, 70% from the consumable, Potion of Clarity, and then a little bit of starting intelligence, and you have nearly 100% or 100% of stun resistance. And there's not too many ways in the game to use that, so you're pretty safe. You will always be standing up, and that's the important thing. Stunned units do die very often, very fast, and they never get a chance to recover. Unless, of course, your opponent is having just a single dagger and an empty hand to target you with on only 2 attacks. He used Adrenaline after all, gonna search up where he can do an order attack now, taking a further 60 damage. Found one. And a miss, that was 60 damage in vain. It happens. There you can see from the stats here that this particular black skin has shield specialist and awareness, like we talked to earlier. A shield with mark of shielding, and that's it for defense. But this novice, you know, she has 12 weapon skill with a dagger. It's like she wants to die. Who is she gonna tie up? Another dagger. Empty hand. This gives him a nice boost to initiative from 51 up to 71, I believe, from a ready to go here now. But you know, Talon's units, the lowest one has 78 initiative, so it's not gonna matter. Sidestep, well, that's cool. In case you marksmen get tied down, you have a very good defensive stance that you can hold them off with. It's particularly if you're attacked by a single henchman or something that's tying you down. You can have a henchman tie down another henchman for quite a while, just with sidestep and marksman. And if they're not tied down, they're really useful as damaging units. So it's not a bad skill to have for some of these archers. And since you do want to have plots to get your initiative up, so they are not tied down for the little move, it's pretty nice choice. Please. He's signaling here that he wants to stay and fight this Rodfather, but I think it's a mistake. Like, why is he doing this? See, he barely does any damage. And he will always take damage in return, and he will not be able to use his stances. This is Mordheim 101, like, When you have a henchman going up against a hero, what you do is you never attack him. You just sit in your stance with all of your red pills and let the hero attack you, because they need to attack. See another critical hit here, very nice. But saving with the stun, as you see, all the way up to 96% due to the potion of clarity. But that's what you do. You just... oh wow, 21 wounds. Yeah, so that's what you do. You just sit there, and because a hero is not worth as much, well, it's worth much more than a henchman, and so you do need to attack into them. And then they have 2 chances to deflect your attacks, they get counter attacks, and you're not in a stance when you're attacking, so you usually take more damage. And Rodfather here has... I think Rodfather built this warband himself and leveled it up because he's really struggling. And you can see it, the consumable he used here was a white consumable, so he hasn't gotten all the consumables he needs either, like Karond has. And while I do like this move, it's gonna be the last move that Erwin Keller does. And it seems to be a very, very defensive champion here. Not doing too much damage. Well, decent enough, but not focusing on the high damage. But wow, they are really separated from the rest of... but you can still move up from the stairs and move around. You have more blue pills, and even if you have fine movement, you will eventually get there. It's not worth it. And using Rob of Steel and his 5 red pills, it's gonna do more damage on you. At least equal damage, and that's exactly what he wants. Especially if he succeeds on that. Slowly grinding the hero down. And this is usually why if you do have a defensive hero or leader, or for that very impressive, you do need to be able to punch through this really defensive henchman that's just trying to tie you up, or just not get engaged to them. Because, yeah, if you have something that's really defensive, you really need to pair them up against another hero or something that's more powerful than you, like an impressive. Because if you don't manage to do that and you get stuck against a henchman, you are losing on a losing strategy. Rodfather seems to prefer to use the radial menu. I know that Slavier likes to use that as well. Otherwise, most players assume to not do that. Here's another thing, like... but... yeah, I mean, I don't know why Talon is complaining. He's always complaining a lot about his luck, but you know, you build your own luck a little bit. Yes, you can complain about luck, but luck is also... if there are 2 players that both miss like 10-95% chance during the game, then one of them could still have had more bad luck depending on when those rolls were made. Like, it does matter when they were made, because they could be indecisive in some cases, and in some cases it doesn't really matter. That's also an important factor.
A new round has started.
I hope Rodfather learned something from this. In the last tournament he lost all of his games, and he has 1 win under his belt here now, but I feel that's because of the underpowered warband he did face. But it's fun to be in the winner's bracket. It gives you another chance to learn quite a bit. I'm gonna see Erwin Keller die here. Aren't we? Well, at least Talon is not the worst. There are other players that complain more, but you know, I think Talon is actually the absolutely luckiest player in the entire tournament scene, with maybe the exception of Udava when it comes to... Oh, Udava has a specific kind of luck, is that he always gets through even though he loses, but Talon has had a habit of facing the easiest opposition in most of his tournament runs here, and I wish that he had a bit more bad luck in the party so he could face players that are more up to his level, not like Rodfather here. Players that know how to counter something when they know exactly what you're going to face and actually does plan for that. Not much in the way of morale left here for Rodfather. It's only 28. Losing the leader, for instance, would be minus 26, so 2 more characters down here. We'll see a round test from Rodfather. Unless it's just 1 character and the idol being lost. We might see that under this turn, so I think Rodfather might be able to be forced to take a round test. Yeah, I do think that Talon has had quite a bit of luck with his tournament runs and with a lot of the deployments maybe as well, but he's a good player though, you can't deny that. But I also do feel that I wish that in this particular tournament Mordheim Madness I wish it was tougher, you know. That's why we released the warband files. I wish that every single player coming into the tournament would have a maximized warband full with all blue consumables, you know, all Wordstone factions unlocked and all enchantments, and trying to maximize a bit. But still, you know, most players that enter this tournament, they enter with their own warbands. They enter with warbands that have level 9 characters. They don't have 3 books on each of their characters. They don't have all of the enchantments. Sometimes they enter with blue equipment. So, yeah, they are going to lose. See Rodfather losing his icon here as well. So now it's only 12 morale. 1 kill and Rodfather has to take a route test. Captain has a really good leadership though, and he's way off. It's not that easy for Talon to get there, so he might survive, who knows. Gonna see what his leadership is soon. But yeah, I do wish the competition was a bit fiercer. I think that if it was, we wouldn't see the same players coming up on top over and over again, and eventually it evolves into this, you know, a tournament. It's for 24 people, originally 32 for Mordheim Madness Season 1, and tends to devolve into a tournament, you know, between just the same 5 people or something, because they are only the 5 people who are left in the end anyway, and the only way they are going out of the tournament is when they do face each other. And that is a bit boring. But we have some profiles who are not participating. Clyde is not participating, he's done somewhat well for himself. Rest the reigning champion. Myself, Karond, is not participating. I usually go pretty far in these. And we have lost some other important individuals, like Happy is not participating in tournaments anymore. He usually does relatively well. He always enters with a maximized warband at the very least. Bror did as well. And we do have some players that are up and coming that have started doing that, specifically Holbrook and Killing, 2 black horses, dark horses I mean, of this tournament. I think they will do pretty well for themselves in the playoffs as we get started here. Both of them in the winners bracket. And I have high hopes for certain other players like Quist or Crowley, who also tend to enter with maximized warbands, but they need to show us a bit more. They haven't shown us the best games just yet, and they have shown us not that great builds either, so hopefully they can learn and come up to at least Killing Power Holbrook's level, who I think both of them can beat any player on a given day. They just need to have a decent deployment, and if they had this deployment and this particular setup against Talon or Clyde, I think they would definitely win. This is an advantageous position. And sometimes it just comes down to that. You have 2 very evenly skilled players, and a deployment could decide everything. And it's has quite frequently does so. Partly why we are reducing the instance of that happening with the elimination of ambushes. But we might see a return for that in the next season, who knows. Since when you start random deployment games like this, you have a 10% chance to always get an ambush. So you get to see a few of them during the tournament, and they tend to be very one-sided affairs. Pretty odd choice here to firebomb yourself. But I guess I feel that he's already won this. It's 5-0. It's all about locking down and killing what remains. Yeah. One dodge hole left. There we go. Gonna see a Master Adrenaline Rush and 2 more attacks then, I assume. Drought of Clarity once more, for the same reason. No critical hit resistance, no stun resistance, so covering that up. Some consumables, I mean, we did drop down to blue consumables, but I don't think it's actually has had the desired effect, because we say that consumables are very powerful, but we see the same consumables being used, because it's not that much of a difference. Like, yes, Talisman going from 45 to 30%, but they're still very useful. And some consumables, for instance, the Drought of Clarity, it's virtually unchanged. Like, you still get almost 100% stun resistance, so it doesn't make a difference, really. It's almost the same with, you know, Crimson Shades. We see those a lot too. 15%, plus 50 initiative for plus 20, it's almost no difference. I think healing suffers a bit more, but from 30 wounds healed to 20 wounds. But it would be nice to see something that's not consumables once, forcing people to build a little bit different. I think it cheapens a lot of the skills to use consumables. It's like a crutch. Like, why did the Rogue Fighter buff all of the magic resistance skills, double their potency if everyone is just not going to take them, because talismans are so much more efficient. Gonna stay with the warp guards here. It's a losing strategy, but it's beyond any hope here that Rodfather is gonna do much, and I don't think Rodfather is even close to killing something. Yes, a lot of units and Talons have self-inflicted injuries, and they really hurt, but with 5 units locked down, you know, you can't get them to do the damage anyway. At least Rodfather did not take a round test just yet. Blue healing drop here. Don't attack into that. Like, you're gonna get counterattacks and you're easy to hit. Why stay here? I don't get it. Yeah, and then you have to fight through the lousy hit chance, and then the Web of Steel, and oh. You basically have a 25% chance to do damage, while he has a 90% chance to do damage to you. So yes, this is a fight that the captain should always support, but not when it's built or done like this. Another precise one. Not having too much luck with those. So he did no damage, and he took more damage himself. same thing all over. I hope that whoever watches this game is learning how to deal with this. Like, you're in a losing fight when you do see this. One player just saves up his red pills and goes into a stand, and another one foolishly just attacks into it. It's really not something that you want to see. And so the same in one of the group games. What was it? Crowley did the same thing against Marcus Kane. Just attacked into his stances and full of red pills in vain. And so Marcus Kane got a lot of value out of that. While Crowley kept losing and losing and losing. If there's something you need to take away from this game, except to know exactly that Talon plays the same playstyle all the time in case you do have to face him in another tournament, is that
A new round has
don't
started.
do that. Really, don't do that. Mordheim 101. If he just saves all of the red pills and enters a stance, do the same. It's just 1-1, 2 units cancelling out each other, not getting anything done. If you are a hero or an impressive or something against a henchman that does this, which is a good thing for them, and that's what you should always do in that kind of situation, then you need to have the firepower to bring them down or disengage from them and go somewhere else. And if you cannot disengage from them, then it's a problem with the build. You need to be able to burst through that. That's the main concern here. If you have a unit that can be bogged down by a henchman, built like this. Expect 380, 400 wounds, lots of heavy armor, very high melee resistance, virtually no damage. That's how a lot of players build them. Should see a route test now for Rodfather, but even though it was only 170 wounds left on the captain, Talon needs to send some guys over there to finish off the captain. I hope he does that, as well as finishing off this guy, Helmut Fiegelman, and that means that Rodfather can actually succeed on a single route test. He's already lost one champion, one warlock and one youngblood, and this is the last hero he has left, and then he only has the leader, and those are the ones that take the route test. You know why he does that? Puts himself right behind the character without being engaged to him. It's because his aura, the circle around that Black Skaven, will prevent the champion from disengaging. So he has to fight the Warp Guard now. He doesn't have a choice in doing anything else. Because he cannot disengage, he needs to fight the Warp Guard, and then the Warp Guard is going to do the same tactic, which is going to grind the champion down, and then the Black Skaven is going to go in occasionally, do a bit more damage, boom boom boom, and then disengage again and do the same thing. It's a very, very nice thing. It's why you try not to have too defensive heroes and leaders or impressives, because they could get bogged down like this. Then you're losing a lot of value on the streets of Mordheim. Not seeing much of what's going on. Sorcerer leader Nuda trying to get to someone that he can order around, which is always going to be one of the two black Skavens. Oh, there he is. Oh, ordering one of the warp guards here. Well, it doesn't have much of a choice, and considering that the time is running out now, it's... And another one. Ah, Sorcerer's Curse, so that he can actually take some damage from the warp guard who's gonna go on the offensive now that he doesn't have a stance left to defend himself with. Just enter Web of Steel here. The captain is foolish enough to constantly attack. Oh wow. 75 stuns, 115 wounds. It's not often you see. Yeah. Just figured that it was a bad idea to go on defensive. Saves the remaining 3 red pills. I'm gonna see an adrenaline rush here to do another 40 damage or so. Really don't know what Rodfather sticks to this game. I mean, the score doesn't matter. That's one of the good things that I really like about Mordheim Madness Season 1 and the way we structure this tournament is that compared to some previous tournaments, the score actually doesn't matter, so you can quit early if you feel you have no chance. And I think that's good. Previous tournaments we had the score actually mattering a whole lot, so you had like and everyone faced each other in round robin, so you could have with a group of 4, 3 guys who all had 2 wins and 1 loss, and then you decided it on who made the most kills. That just made no sense whatsoever, because I mean, or the score difference, because if you have a higher morale warband, then you're just losing out. Because you have a higher morale, that's like Rodfather has, and then you're gonna lose.
Your warband morale is
units.
critically low.
So I kinda like that that's removed. Yeah, not much left now. It's only the 4 units that we see coming up here for Rodfather. 2 warriors, one of them almost dead. Yeah, everything is almost dead. But remember that the captain is still alive and he has a good leadership, most likely. I might make this route test. Gonna see. I might see another unit go down here. Won't affect the route test chance though, but a common misconception that the lower your morale is, the more difficult it is to make a route as well. 68% chance with the captain alive. That's pretty good. That is pretty good, actually. That means that he has 17 leadership. Since 17 times 4 is 68, and that's always your chance of succeeding in a route test. Oh, Please stop with the precise strikes already. Yeah, well, at least he did a little bit of damage here, but... I mean, just save the red pills and go into defensive stance. You know that the black stone is gonna come after you. So why not have a few red pills for counterattacks? Won't matter, I mean... dead anyway, right? Still in Web of Steel with 3 red pills left. Alright. Gonna take some damage here. That was his last healing. Gonna face a counter-attack now. Taking 24 damage. Cancelling out the healing and a little bit more. Still has 2 Web of Steel and 1 red pill left. So that he could get another parry attack off the back. It's not like there's gonna come any offensive magic from Skaven anyway. Shouldn't have even had a talisman with him. Oh, and then enter a dodge dance at 10%. I think Rodfather just wants this to be over, but you can just press escape and, you know, abandon the game. So.
A new round has started.
Might see a complete wipe here then. At 10-0, a natural 10-0, not most of the 10-0s we have here is because people have abandoned the game and given up, and then you always get a 10 to the opponent. Nice! Scoring a nice critical hit here. Cool. See, the stun resistance is 100. So, succeeded. Wouldn't have done that without the personal clarity, but here we are. Everyone has consumables available to them and they use different ones. That's not true. They all use the same ones, but everyone has them available. Would be interesting to see a tournament, because I think the 4 latest tournaments now have all been with consumables, so it would be nice to finally see tournaments without consumables again. I think that's gonna be the main standard now. It's a bit worn out, tends to be the same builds over and over, not just by people like Talon and Marcus Kane that builds the exact same warband no matter which warband they're playing. It's also from many other players as well. It makes certain skill much more useful than others. And it would be nice to premiere, you know, resist magic and force of will and those kind of skills to actually get back in there, being useful and worth your picking. Don't see much happening, do we? I just ended his turn. Probably trying to reach the captain now. Mow him down as well. This might finish off the last henchman of Rodfather. You see that this Globadier has poison expert mastered, and I think that's a good thing when you do have warp lock pistols, because it does apply to the warp ammo. Otherwise it's a poison resistance check, you know, and if you fail that test you have -6% melee and -6% ranged resistance, and it just stacks on. So if you're gonna go with the Globadiers with warp lock pistols, poison expert is really good. Poison expert is really good if you have warp poison, numbing poison, as well as the poison cloud that you always start with. It's a useful skill. Oh wow, really sorry, yeah, sorry about that, it must have been some kind of glitch here. Lots of leftover warp guards now that don't serve a single purpose in killing off the last 2 units. You're too far away from the action now, you should just end the turn with them. This is rapidly becoming boring here. Let's see if he makes this route test as well at 68%. Yeah, he does. Ugh, why not just end the game? Like, take the 8-0 loss and just move on. You're torturing us, torturing me. Yeah, it tortures Talon, it tortures everyone. Everyone is tortured. Rodfather. Alright. Yeah, still not really close to getting a kill off. And a parry. And a kill. And only 30 wounds left or something like that. 32. Yeah, that's not gonna protect him. Because, yeah, you've seen this a lot already in this game. Pretty boring game to watch, but we should be nearly close. A new round has started. I mean, this must be the final, right? If Talon can't finish off these 2 units, like, it's taking an excruciatingly long time to get there with all of these fast heroes. Should be able to just pulverize this 32 wounds champion, and then of course 150 wounds or something like that, I believe. Captain. Should be relatively easy. A miss. Another miss. Why not just... You can just stay there. Hit. There we go. Only the captain remains against Rodfather's entire team. I think if Talon is not going, if Talon is moving his warp guards now, I'm just gonna, yeah. Ah, wait, whatever. Yeah, let's watch the whole thing. I'm not gonna pause. Let's see what happens. Might be something. And besides, I don't know which of these warp guards are actually engaged with the damn captain anyway. It's not the last one, but it's one of them. Yeah, I'm gonna pause and jump forward a little bit until we see someone moving towards the captain. And still no one has, and we are very close now. It's just the last warp guard. Talon taking an excruciatingly long time moving every single warp guard, and I was like, these units can't even all engage. Oh, okay, here's one of them. Can't even all engage the damn captain. See, even the last warp guard just sees him and just moves back instead of at least trying to get in there. Succeeds the route test yet again. Alright, fine. I don't know how he's getting lost, you know, in the tunnels. It's just 2 tunnels. It's basically... The tunnel system is basically an X. Like, that's all it is. It's an X. Maybe it even has 2 cross points. That's it. No, it doesn't. Okay, so it's more like a, not like an X, it's actually more like an 8. That's the entire tunnel system. So it's really easy to find your way around. Yeah, just stand there with web of steel. Finally.
A new round has started.
Let's see some units coming up. Just waiting for the excruciating end here. This poor captain is without many wounds, 97 of them. A breeze from the water could probably swallow me. I wish... Maybe one of these black Skaven could get him. Waking up. As you noticed, they just jumped forward in time, and of course nothing was happening, and Talon was just moving every unit for some time, and it's just... why? So I feel... why? Oh, we do hear him. Yeah, but is this the warp card he just left behind? Yeah, it is. I think it is at least. So another full turn goes by and we're just sitting here waiting. Rodfather, please hit the escape button. Come on. A little bit more damage, good. Yes, please attack. You've done it all game, just attack him. Yeah, fine. Just three more red pills. He's one more attack. Come on, hit. Oh. This is just excruciating. Seems like it's gonna be a 10-0 victory. If they could just wrap up already. I don't get it. Oh, I saved one red kill.
A new round has started.
Another full turn is coming in. Round 8. Yeah, can you just move in with the sorcerer so something happens? Going through the wrong tunnel. It's... Well, Talon predictably goes through in the winner's bracket, and yeah, I say predictably because Rodfather was without a doubt the easiest opponent, and it ties in, you know, with what I was saying earlier as well, about the path through the tournaments and Talon's continued luck with that. Even if he goes through here, he's gonna have a pretty easy path as well. If he keeps attacking into this cemetery. Wow, a little damage. Nice. Fade the parry on. Might see a kill here actually. Rodfather might get a kill. That would be interesting. Yeah, using Adrenaline Rush, hoping that he goes by the 95% parry. Oh yeah, oh yes, to disengage. Yeah. I don't know why people are concerned about numbers. Like, I'm so annoyed with this. When people have already won, why don't just hit and turn? Like, many players do this. And do they think that winning 10-0 compared to winning 6-0 actually matters in some way? Or losing in the same fashion? Like, it really doesn't. It doesn't make you a better player to win 6-0 or 10-0. It really doesn't matter. That's why we did away with this stuff as well. And surely some unit must be... Yeah, at least Talon is speeding up the henchman this time. Sick of this. Just as well as everyone is. Closing in on 1 hour and 40 minutes now. Wow, just Alt F4, huh? That's one way to end the game. Talon did that, or it was a connection error. Yeah, it says connection error, but it could just be an Alt F4.
Yeah!
And yeah, Rodfather did not actually win this game. He did not win 10-9. It's gonna be a 9-0 victory to Talon. And thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the game and
A
you
warrior
learned something.
needs a bit of luck and a lot of skill to win a battle. But most of all, he needs strategy. You have managed to find the winning mixture. Now just be careful not to lose it.
See you next time. Farewell.